What's up, Twin Cities? It's your girl, Glam Life Kim, and in the building with me, one of my favoriteest people in the whole wide Twin Cities, Mr. Anthony Taylor. How are you today, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. It's always a pleasure to see you. You know, you're one of my favorite people of all time. So
I know, and it seemed like it's been so far and few lately. So it's just so good.
It's
to see
always
your face.
good. I mean, and it's the holiday season, right? So being thankful for those relationships that you have and the people that you see.
I am thankful for you.
I am thankful for you. Like one of the things that's most important to me, and we was just off the air talking about the relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So relationships is most important. And
absolutely,
over these last 7 years, you know, the relationship me and you build, and Glenn and KMOJ and the city of Minneapolis, it's just a beautiful thing.
It's been
7 years. 7 years,
that's
man.
Crazy.
Going strong. Yeah.
We have.
Felt like yesterday too.
It does. It went by so fast.
So I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you
and
here.
I'm glad to be in studio as always.
Hey, I know, because COVID was something.
COVID was a monster.
It was...
Yeah, you know, but we get in here and the vibe and the music, it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Hey, it is always my pleasure, y'all. Happy pre-Thanksgiving to everybody out there. My name is Anthony Taylor. I am from the city of Minneapolis. Welcome to Minneapolis 360. My pleasure and my privilege always to come every second and fourth Wednesday of the month to provide some information, some guidance, anything that we can do to help the community. One of the things before we even get started, you know, this is probably one of my favorite times of year because it's Thanksgiving. And I, if you know me, anything about me, Minneapolis, I'm a foodie, so I love to eat. So if I ain't cooking, somebody cooking, I'm going to eat something, right? So I'm always interested in asking people, you know, what they cooking, what y'all cooking. And the beautiful thing about it, it's more about the relationships in the company than the food. Food always is a bonus, but if you are with your loved ones, Kim, this holiday season, and count your blessings and give hugs to people, you know, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And I can't wait for Christmas, y'all. You know I'm a Christmas
You a Christmas. I got you. Kim like, yeah, okay, man. We'll wait till them presents come.
My tree has been lit. You know, but it's not even about it's about the Christmas movies for me. And the sitting by the fireplace with the Christmas tree lit. And
you got a favorite movie?
You know what? Right now, well, you know what I want to see? I want to see, what's it called? A Very Merry Beauty Salon.
Okay.
I think it comes out soon.
All right.
Maybe like tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new one.
I thought you were going to go old school.
I know, huh? Oh, now old school. You know what's so funny? You know what I still love? And this is super old school.
Okay.
Home Alone.
Yeah. That's on everybody's top 10 list, to be honest. That's on everybody's top 10.
I still love Home Alone. It's his face.
Yeah, it is. And it's Christmas and it snowed. It just reminds you of a lot.
Yeah.
So I will ask my guest, too, what his favorite Christmas movie is after we're done. Yeah, to check that out. But listen, just, you know, make sure that we count our blessings and hug our elders and our children. We never know how life happens. But if you can, you know, if you know somebody, if you know anybody that's out there by themselves, reach out, invite them over, and have a good time. So it's one of my public service announcements, y'all. I'm in that mood today. But one of the things too that I am not in a mood in, but we need to talk about is snow emergencies, right, y'all? And listen, like last year, and I was saying this off the air in Minneapolis, Mother Nature had blessed us. If you are not a snow person, with no snow last year, right?
So it was nice.
It was nice, right? And we talk about it every year, Kim. We try to do winter right, but we did winter right because we ain't had to shovel nothing.
We didn't have to do it. It was so sweet.
It was really sweet. Minneapolis, that might not be the case this year. I mean, sometimes Mother Nature blesses us, fingers crossed. And sometimes she dump on us, and we need to understand the snow emergency rules, Minneapolis, because it's important. And if you don't know them, you can walk outside one day and your car is gone if you don't know the snow emergency rules. And that's a terrible feeling.
It is. You're like, where's my car? Somebody stole my car.
And you're like, oh, no, the impound lot got it, right? And because if you didn't understand that, then that's an extra couple of $100 that you can keep in your pocket. So this is an important show. So if you are a person who has a car, know a family member that has cars and live really close to the north side or the south side, anywhere in the Twin Cities, just understand north side that the impound lot is very, very close to here. So if they start to get busy, you know, they coming around here first. And this is from experience, and we know it, right? We know that deal. So I got the perfect person to come on to talk about snow emergencies. Joe Paumen, Transportation Maintenance and Repair Director for Minneapolis Public Works, coming on talking about snow emergencies. Joe, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Joe. And before we get started, just tell Minneapolis just a little bit about who you are and what you do for Public Works.
My name is Joe Paumen. As you said, I'm the Director of Transportation Maintenance and Repair. In our division, to our topics today, we are in charge of snow plowing. We also do bridge maintenance, parking ramp maintenance, special service districts, and we have our construction folks, too, that do public improvement projects.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for coming. Listen, we got to talk about snow emergencies. There has not been any snow on the ground. We're looking at the day before Thanksgiving. Does not mean that that's the case. Talk about why in the first place does Minneapolis kind of declare snow emergencies?
Sure. Our plows are out a lot when it snows, not just when there's a snow emergency. Throughout the winter, our crews are out most of the time plowing or treating the streets to make them more drivable. We declare a snow emergency when a significant amount of snow falls. Crews will then plow all 1,400 miles of the streets and alleys in Minneapolis over the following 3 days. The only way we can plow the streets completely is to get the parked vehicles out of the way. Snow emergency parking rules make that possible. When a snow emergency is declared, a series of parking restrictions go into place over the course of the next 3 days, as I said. Each of the 3 days of a snow emergency has different parking restrictions. That gives snowplow crews the ability to get to all parts of the city and to keep vehicles moving safely.
Yeah, and I think that's important because what you said, and I'll let you dig into it, is that when there's a snow emergency declared, we're talking about 3 days, right, of a snow emergency. So Minneapolis needs to listen here closely. Talk about those rules for those 3 days, Joe, and break that down so people can really clearly understand what that means.
Right, and that's what a snow emergency is a 3-day, parking management exercise. And so that snow emergency is always declared by 6 p.m. to give everyone enough time to move their vehicles. On day one, the first night of the snow emergency, the cities plow the streets designated as snow emergency routes. These are the ones marked by the red snow emergency signs and the blue street name signs. On day one, drivers can't park on either side of those streets. Day one lasts from 9 p.m. of the first day to 8 a.m. the following morning. On day two of the snow emergency, our snowplow drivers plow the even side of the streets as well as the parkways. So drivers can't park on the even side or parkways on day two. You can tell the even side of the street by looking for property addresses that end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. You can also download the city's snow emergency parking rules phone app to view an interactive map that'll show you where you can and cannot park each day during a snow emergency. Day two begins at 8 a.m., the day following the snow emergency declaration, and lasts until 8 p.m. that night. Then on day three, we plow the odd sides of the streets. So on those days, the drivers can't park on the sides of the streets where the house addresses end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. The day three parking rules start at 8 a.m. and last until 8 p.m. One more thing, once a street is fully plowed, you can park there, even if the snow emergency parking rules are still in effect. But fully plowed means the street is completely cleared and plowed from curb to curb. Plows may come through once more, so make sure that it's fully plowed and as wide as possible before parking.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Again, Minneapolis, we're talking about snow emergencies. Got Joe Paumen here from Public Works, giving us a little bit of information. And listen, I understand if somebody is sitting here listening to me like, yo, man, like, Anthony, this is a whole lot of information. Day one, day two, I got to go to work. My kids got to go to school. The important thing I think I want people to understand, too, Joe, is that emergency parking rules app is probably pretty critical for people to download. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's very helpful. And you can go to our website as well, but that app is really handy.
Yeah, and we'll give you some more information to Minneapolis to be able to access some of that information. We always know for years that 311 is the one place that you can always call.
Yeah, I need to download that app though.
I think that's important, right? Because there's a lot of complexities in this, and we talk about red signs, blue signs. You can park 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Right. When your car is plowed or the street is plowed, you can park there. Some people don't maybe understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Right. And especially if they one day I come out and it's fine, and the next day and they don't pay attention. Boy, I've seen it happen to my son and his friends over and over.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know that. And Joe, so, a couple of years ago, and I think it was maybe 2 years ago, when we had a ridiculous amount of snow, right? And I think people couldn't get down the alleys, and the streets were narrow because of the snowbanks. It was just really, really crazy. Kim, you remember that?
I do.
It was off the chain. And then the following year, we had no snow. So who knows, right, what's happening this year? So
it's so bipolar.
It's so bipolar. So, Joe, like when the cars are in the way, like what happens to those cars?
Sure. When cars are in the way, we can't fully plow the street. And so when the streets aren't fully plowed, they're harder to use, obviously. It's important to make our streets drivable, particularly for emergency vehicles such as ambulances, fire engines, and so forth that need to be able to reach every home and business in the city. Vehicles parked in violation of the snow emergency are subject to being ticketed and towed to the Minneapolis impound lot. And that's the last thing we want to do is tow anybody's car. And so we're really hoping that people can use the app and follow the rules as best as they can.
Yeah, and I think that's important, and we'll talk more about that now. Minneapolis talking about snow emergencies. You want to call up 612-377-3456 about the snow emergencies. Don't get fooled by what we see today, Minneapolis. You never know when it could snow, and it could snow in April, and we've seen that, right?
We have.
We've seen a lot of these movies before, right, Kim?
Yes, nothing is surprising anymore.
Nothing surprises anymore. And Joe, so then talk about it, right? We know the impound lot here is close to the north side in the KMOJ studios. Like, talk about what happens if a car does get towed.
Sure. If your car is towed for violating, the Minneapolis snow emergency parking rules, it'll be taken to the Minneapolis impound lot. The impound lot's located at 50 Van Wyck Memorial Boulevard. It's open 24 hours a day during snow emergencies. The impound lot accepts cash, personal checks, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. At that point, you'll be responsible to pay for the ticket and a towing charge, and a storage fee could apply if your vehicle is left at the impound lot for an extended period. The towing fee is $138. These fees help offset the cost of, the services performed by the towing companies. Any vehicles left at the impound lot for more than a day also need to pay a storage fee. That's $18 a day. Additionally, drivers are also responsible, to pay for the tickets separately. You can call 311, as you said, or 612-673-3000 if calling from outside of Minneapolis to find out if your car is at the Minneapolis impound lot and, what storage or towing fees may apply. You can also find out what form of documentation, such as, proof of ownership, valid government, issued ID, et cetera, that you might need to recover your vehicle. As I said, our ideal scenario is not to tow any vehicles during a snow emergency, but sometimes we need to move the vehicles so we can fully plow the streets. Again, we're asking everyone to do their part and follow the parking rules during our snow events.
That's an expensive lesson.
Absolutely.
So definitely download that app.
Download the app, and because what's different, I guess now you can write a personal check and you can use a credit card. I remember when it was just cash, right? I mean,
making it more convenient.
It was a little bit more convenient. I actually got maybe towed a couple of months ago and had to get my car out of Crystal impound lot, and it was like Randy Moss saying, it was straight cash on me. So that's a little bit different than what it is today. But you're right, Kim. That's a tow fee, the ticket you have to pay, and if you don't get it out that same day within 24 hours, it's another $18 per day until you get it out. So Minneapolis, one of the things, and Joe, just real quick, and I don't know if you know this or not, but do you need proof of insurance or title or registration if you get towed when you go to the impound lot?
I'm not sure about proof of insurance, but proof of ownership and a valid ID are definitely required.
And one of the things, and I'd love for you to kind of express that, because you've talked about it and mentioned it kind of several times, like, the city of Minneapolis is not in the business of towing people, right? It's specifically to be able to have people get around easier for our emergency vehicles to move around. Over decades and decades and just historically, there's always been thought that the city, any big cities don't necessarily give you that advance, and they just want to get money so we can, they can be able to do stuff with their money, and people think it's kind of unscrupulous that this happens. Just emphasize the fact that it's about the safety, correct, Joe?
It really is. It's, as I said, it's a 3-day parking management tool. And it really is, primarily about, getting emergency vehicles through first, but, getting folks to work and to the grocery store and everything like that. So, it takes resources to ticket, tag, and tow cars. And it would be great if we didn't have to tow any.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, talking about snow emergencies, Minneapolis, 612-377-3456. If you have any questions for Joe, as we close up on the show with about 13 minutes left, I know there's folks out there that's got some questions, so don't hesitate to call. And Joe, so how do I find out that a snow emergency has been declared? What are the tools that I could use?
The city has many tools to find out when a snow emergency is declared. We recommend putting as many of them as you can to use. The more ways that people use to learn about a snow emergency, the more prepared they'll be to do their part, and the less likely they'll be to get towed. So we have a snow emergency hotline. By calling 612-348-SNOW, you can find out if a snow emergency has been declared. If a snow emergency is in effect, the hotline will have information on that day's parking restrictions that drivers need to follow to avoid tickets and tows. You can also call 311, as you said, but I'd like to note that 311 is not open on weekends or holidays. You can also go to the city's website, minneapolismn.gov/snow, and it will say whether a snow emergency has been declared. On the city's website, minneapolismn.gov, you can also sign up to get notified by an automated phone call, a text message, or an email whenever a snow emergency is declared. You can like or follow the city's Facebook or X snow emergency accounts to be notified that a snow emergency has been declared and what parking rules are in effect. Let's see. Drivers who have an Android or iPhone device can download the snow emergency app, as we've already talked about. During a snow emergency, the app will tell them the parking rules for that day. It also has the snow emergency parking map, which allows users to see the parking rules in detail by entering their address or any address. The latest version of the app will now send push notification alerts for snow emergencies as well.
So,
Nice.
so Joe, I want to put on my community member hat with this next question. So, is there a certain amount of snow that is kind of required to kind of activate a snow emergency? So if I'm sitting outside or I'm sitting in my house and I see some snowfall and it might be 1 inch or it might be 2 inches or maybe 3, that kind of puts me in a predicament to wonder how a city determines a snow emergency. Is there an amount that triggers this emergency, Joe?
Yes, it's generally 4 inches, but there can be a lot of variation to that. If we have 3 2-inch snowstorms back to back to back, we might look at the accumulated snow and say we need to declare a snow emergency. Or in the spring, we might get 6 inches of snow, but it's going to be 45 degrees the next day, so we know that it's going to melt pretty quickly. So there is some discretion on our part, and our whole team gets together to discuss whether we should have a snow emergency or not. Beforehand, because we realize it can be a burden on people to move their cars, and we want to make sure it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and Kim just downloaded the app. How
I
easy
did.
was that,
It was
Kim?
super simple. I just went to my app store and then I put in snow emergency, and it automatically, the first thing that pulls up is Minneapolis snow emergency. And then once it opened up, it says there's currently no snow emergency.
Right.
Normal parking rules apply. So that is sweet.
Yeah, and it was easy.
You can view the map. You can to plan. It even has where you can sign up for alerts, or you can get information on the sidewalk, shoveling, or impound lot. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, and in real time, and it was so easy. I mean, in 2 seconds she did it in Minneapolis. So I think that's really important. And just one more question, Joe, before I ask you my last question: is there a certain time, like a deadline that you have to require or declare a snow emergency? So is it like at 6 o'clock? I have to, or I don't. Is there anything that goes into that?
Right. If we haven't declared it by 6 p.m., we won't for that day.
Oh.
But, we try to declare it as early as possible.
Sure.
Just to give everybody, as much notice as possible. We're always in contact with St. Paul. It works out best, we think, when we can do the same thing together, for consistency of messaging and all of that.
Yeah, it seems like St. Paul takes Minneapolis lead too most of the time, and I don't have no inside information, but I think once Minneapolis declares, everybody around Minneapolis start to declare snow emergencies, and we know how close all of these cities are, and a lot of us either work, play, or live in the surrounding area, and so Joe is in this conversation with you, and again, I appreciate you coming on and talking about it, because obviously when I talked to you earlier today, I think this is important information, and I love to be able to help provide that to our folks in community. If I had just more questions, Joe, how could I get my questions answered?
Minneapolis 311 can answer your questions Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can call 311 in the city of Minneapolis or 612-673-3000 if you're calling from outside the city. As I said, 311 is not open on weekends or holidays during snow emergencies. If you call 311, you can ask to speak to someone in a different language as well. You can also request to have someone from the city attend a community meeting or event to talk about parking and answer any questions that you might have. We enjoy meeting with people in the community and want to get all people. We want everybody to be able to get around in the winter, follow the rules, and avoid tickets and towing.
Yeah, I think that's big. Like community meetings, I think are a huge way to engage the community, Joe. And would they, if that is the case, and there's a community group or a neighborhood organization, would they just reach out to 311, or would they, send an email to Public Works? How would they be able to get a hold of somebody?
Yeah, I think 311 is always a great way to get a hold of the city, and those requests are always routed to the proper division.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you. One of these things, these shows that, I regret, but I am happy because I don't want to see any snow.
Right.
And I'm sure that a lot of people agree with me, and there's some that don't, but I don't want no snow.
Not just yet. I mean, I haven't embraced it yet.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes Minneapolis, we don't even get a chance to embrace it. We just smack us in the face, right?
Right.
So
my God.
You never know the opportunity. And Joe, I got one more question, man. We talking about Christmas movies. Name yours, bro. Like, what's your favorite Christmas movie? I know you got one.
I've got to go with Home Alone too. I start watching it every year about Thanksgiving, so it's a classic.
It is, isn't it?
It's a great one. Hey, Joe, thank you for your time, man. Happy holidays to you and your family. Take some time off, man, and appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
I appreciate you too. Thanks to both of you for letting us get the word out. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, that's important. But I got to slide back to Christmas movies. All right, so check this out, right? I don't know if I have a favorite, Kim. I do know if I shout out my mom's, and she's a Christmas movie person.
Is she?
Right?
Oh my God, me and her would just get along so
good. But she like the older one, so she's talking about It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh wow, yeah, she's taking it back,
taking it way
back in the day.
Because you know why? Because she forced us as a kid to gotta watch these movies, and back then it wasn't no cable, so you watch these shows.
Right.
But I'm gonna take Die Hard, man. Like I'll take Die Hard.
I love Die Hard too, though. That's a good one. Yeah. And I still love like Best Man Holiday. Yeah. I mean, I'm a wimp for love and
you like that.
I love some good love. I just saw a new movie. I'm trying to think what the name of it was. It's with DeVale Ellis, the guy from the show Sisters on BET. It was him and Christina Milian. And it was so cute. I just watched it a few nights ago, and that was a good movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So I like to sit in front of the fireplace and have my little like latte and mocha, my little holiday ho mint mocha,
and be able to do what you got to do. So I'm with that. So
yes. Now, bro, I will tell you. So of course, I'm on that app, right? And then I see where you can sign up for alerts, and so you guys can actually text MPLS alerts to 77295, and then they will text you whenever there is a snow emergency or any type of emergency alert. So that is nice too. That's a nice little feature. I just, Minneapolis, and I keep saying it, it's the worst feeling in the world to walk out and your car is gone. That's just not a good look. It is not. I've had it happen.
Me too. So hey, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Always a pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so look, I talked about this on Back in the Day on Sunday, so I got to ask you, how do you like your plate? Like, what is your holiday? What does your Thanksgiving plate look like?
Oh, man. I got two plates, first of all.
My guy.
So I got 2 plates, right?
Okay.
So I gotta have some turkey.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta have some dressing. I
Okay.
gotta have some macaroni. I
Okay.
gotta have some type of green beans or
With
something.
potatoes or greens or something.
Well, I
Okay.
ain't done. That's the second plate.
Oh,
So,
that's hold
yeah.
on.
So yeah. So the second plate is a plate of greens, in a like little bowl, cranberry sauce, and about 4 or 5 rolls. Right. I gotta have my rolls.
Period. Right? I know I love a good roll, a Hawaiian roll, whichever.
Dinner roll, put like a little
it.
toasted, little butter on there. That's my plate.
That's your plate.
That's my plate.
See, I eat like a toddler, so I just need somebody to buy me one of those plates that compartmentalize.
Yeah, look at you. Like those Lunchable trays.
Because I don't want my juice. I don't want the,
you want the
juice. Yeah, I don't want the juice for my greens. But you said you need your greens in a bowl because you don't want your juice to roll onto your bread or your rolls.
But see, I don't mind my food touching.
You don't?
Because listen, this is crazy, y'all. The way I eat, it's not one at a time. So I eat a little bit of turkey in my mouth. I put some macaroni in there at the same time. I get a little dressing in there too. Man, it's going down with me, man. Man, I love it. Then desserts and everything else. It's like, woo.
Let's go. And then you're talking about having ribs, so you may have to save me a little bone or something.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I think other people looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the dressing, the macaroni, and the turkey.
Okay,
part. That to me. Oh, no, I need my yams too.
I was about to say you gotta have the yams.
Gotta have those. I mean, that's just a beautiful. I'm hungry now.
I know, me too. My mouth watering. I'm a stomach growling. It's getting bad.
Hey, what did most people say? What was the kind of the theme of how people wanted they plate going?
You know what? So there was a few people who were like me. They don't want this stuff touching. But then there was a lot of people who like to have multiple plates. That just then you got the one person that just stacked their plate up high. They just want everything on one big old plate.
Yeah.
And then you had people who wanted the meat on one plate and then the sides on a different plate.
That's different. That's different. Hey, where you at with chitlins, man?
You know what? That's what Glenn was talking about. He wants some chitlins.
Man, I'm gonna pass. That's a hard
too.
pass.
That's
for
a
me.
hard pass for me too. I do not want no
I don't want none of that.
Of a pig. No, I will pass.
Yeah, I'm cool on all of that. So, man, happy Thanksgiving, sis.
Happy
I'll
Thanksgiving
see you soon.
to you. All right, Twin Cities, we wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And until next time, coming up next, you know what? We got some Glorilla with TGIF.